From an undisclosed level of security and insecurity, we present to you tonight MnRTV Live Show. And tonight's guests, I should say, Bob Mitchell and Jason Quitt. Forbidden knowledge, revelations of a multi-dimensional time traveler. We will get these guests on tonight, hopefully with no hassle, because sometimes there is when the elites try and cause us problems. But that's nothing to worry about. I mean, it's time now to get my co-host, the one and the only, the madman from parts unknown, Mario. Welcome to the MnRTV Live Show.
Yes, welcome to our show, everybody. You know, you're out there, we're in here. It's like everybody is part of the same planet, and it's great, right?
Yes.
Right? It's very great.
Yeah, what a week we've had. What a day, man. But we're glad we're back on the MnRTV Live Show tonight. And tonight we'll be talking with our guests, Bob Mitchell and Jason Quitt. And Jason Quitt is a multi-dimensional time traveler. Imagine that. That's going to be amazing to talk to.
Yes, so now that's very exciting. And we are looking forward to hearing that within the next half an hour or so, right there?
45 minutes to be exact. But this show's been brought to the Illuminati Task Force. Now that we got that out of the way, let's begin because we've got a whole bunch of information to say.
All right, so this is me, this is Mario. I'm going to be switching on over so that you can see what you need to see, because I'm not that important, but it's what I say that's important. That's what we say. That's why we're here. So let me switch on over and show you exactly what you need to see there. And here she is. Here's the blog, the MnR production, Mariolaur, blogspot.ca. It appears on last week's show and the show before that and the show before that, in the description, along with all the wonderful stuff that we show in the news, and that's mostly about here. So here's the description, and we start in 2006, and there's
10 years ago.
Yes, and if you don't see deals, no problem, just refresh, and this is where you click on there and you see us live. And if you have anything to say, just say it right there in the MnR Chitango. Well, the Chitango live, well, it is MnR chat room, right?
MnR Hangout chat room, yeah, from Chitango. And there's our popular pictures of the week. So we begin. We all place ourselves in danger to one degree or another when we stand up, but we place our children and grandchildren in even greater danger when we don't. Exactly. I mean, if we think society's bad now, imagine later on. I mean, I think from 25 years ago, it's pretty darn awful now. So I don't know what's going to be for grandchildren, great-grandchildren, but if it keeps up this way, I don't think I'd want to be around. I can't imagine what it would be.
But we also put our lives in danger when we do the MnRTV Live Show. That's why we're doing this, so that so our grandchildren
doing this
will be okay. So we've all next.
Paid to bully, paid all day long. Called a hero by those he bullies. Well, he's having a good time drinking coffee and eating a donut.
But not all cops are BL. There are some, there's like 1 in what, 10,000 that are good. It's like winning a lottery ticket.
Oh, I was about to say maybe 1 in 3 are good. But if it's 1 in 10,000 or whatever you said, oh my God, I don't know. Then you wonder why I sometimes don't really agree with them. But that's debatable, I suppose.
Well, it depends what city.
If it's 1 in 10,000, oh my God.
It depends on what city we're talking about there.
I think it's probably worse in those cities there in the United States than where we are. But then again, we have a police brutality. Meet the real owner of the Republican Party. Rupert Murdoch owns Fox News. He lived in England. He decides which Republican candidates are welcome and which ones they will sabotage and destroy. Every single Republican sucks up to him and fear him because he calls the shots at the GOP. He's the one that fabricates hoaxes at Fox News to brainwash ignorant native naive viewers to divide our country, all for ratings, power, and greed. So would this not be Donald Trump's boss?
Yes, kind of like them at Ed was. Some of these guys, bosses.
Yeah, exactly.
The
So you can imagine.
politicians.
Yeah, the politicians and they're all crooked. Donald Trump fans, speaking of the devil, waiting to hear which minority group they should blame all their problems on next. Yeah. Well, one throws the ball, the other one takes it, and they each throw the ball at each other, saying you caused the problem. When in reality, it's just all a game orchestrated by the puppet masters doing this.
To divide and conquer. That's why.
Yeah, for sure. Waiting periods are only a step. Registration is only a step. The prohibition of private firearms is the goal. Janet Reno. There has been the plan for a while now, and if the corruption isn't stopped, it will be our reality. Yeah, it'll be a reality. Is she still around, Janet Reno?
I guess so. Where's our American audience? They can tell us if Janet Reno is still around.
I haven't heard from her in like 3 years. Stop illegal immigrants. They're taking they're taking the land we stole. Yeah, that's true.
Ask that to the Indians, the natives, Americans or Canadians, and they'll tell you who stole what and from who.
Exactly. Next, I see no God up here. You will when your oxygen tank runs out. Yeah, after death you see God. Hopefully in good, not in bad. Correct?
Yes, but a lot of people say just because we don't see God, it means he doesn't exist. But I say just because we don't see the air we breathe doesn't mean it doesn't exist. You want to see how powerful air is? Just go and look at tornadoes and hurricanes. That's how powerful air is. That's my thing.
Indeed.
All right. Speaking of gold.
Something to think about. If you support a preacher who lives in a $10.5 million home and travels like this in a private jet while you can barely pay for rent, medications, etc., who do you think is a fool? Joel Osteen in his private jet. Yeah, look, with a hot babe and probably laughing it up at all the suckers who buy his stuff and look at him like some kind of miracle worker.
And this guy sells stadiums for throwing people bull crap. Right?
You think he cares about people? He just cares about the money.
Yeah, but how does he do it?
The money in the green loot.
How does he do it?
I don't know. Probably has the power to do it, but the power from
This guy has all kinds of books.
Have you ever looked at his books?
No, I don't have time to look at books. Suivant next.
In the last century, government killed 260 million of their own citizens. Logical conclusions: ban governments. Yes. How do we do to ban governments? That's the problem. I really don't know. It'd be nice, but it's like you said, a legal mob. They are a legal mob.
You know how to ban the government? D is right there. Income tax.
Oh gosh, income tax. I missed about that time again where we have income tax.
Yes, and look at that. 1913.
103 years of the income tax, 1913 to 2016. And look at all the tax brackets and the inflation and everything. I'm not going to go through all of this, but this is the American tax reform, and you guys can see how the total tax revenues in 1913 was 17.1 billion, a lot of money, but now it's nothing compared to $3.364 trillion. Oh boy. And With all the money spent, we're still not better. It's really something else. I'm telling you.
Money is there to enslave us and to make the rich people rich and the poor people poor. So we've on next, like this one right there.
Didn't pay their taxes. Look, there's the elites right there. They're drinking champagne on a yacht boat in Panama, and these two guys didn't pay their parking tickets, and they're in the clink.
Or crossed on a red light.
Yeah, for something like that, crossing a red light or well, parking tickets. Yeah, exactly.
So we've on next.
Well, it's April 15th, so you know what that means. Yep, it's the start of Mass Murder Week. April 15, 2013, Boston Marathon bombing. April 16, 2007, Virginia Tech shooting. April 19, 95, Oklahoma City bombing. April 19, 1993, Waco siege. April 20th, 1999, Columbine High School shooting. Yeah, but it didn't happen every year. It's still a pattern. Yeah, every couple of years. So we don't know. We don't know. All there's been this month is a lot of earthquakes.
Yes, and that's coming up soon, because that's the pictures of the week that have been placed on both Conspiracy Talks on Google Plus and Facebook right there. There's the Facebook one. And yes, see how many people have joined. And if you want to see our shows in the future, just right here, click there, and it will bring you to our blog, and you're all set. And this is it.
The fastest growing group on Facebook, the Conspiracy Talk. I mean, we're getting all kinds of new people every day. And look, there's one person, we have to check them out and see that they're not spammers or government trolls, and some of them slip through the cracks, but we don't put up with nonsense on this group, do we?
No, and we look and we screen them to make sure that they're not spammers and government paid trolls, and because that's what we're always under attack from these government paid trolls.
We try as much as possible not to have them, but sometimes they slip through the cracks, but it's okay. Hi, Rosanna. Hi, Leland. Hi, everybody. Hi, Polly. Hi, Anonymous.
Hey there, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. So now we're going to hear the news of the week, right? What everybody.
And I'm sure there's a lot of news.
All right. Right here. Speaking of earthquakes, look at this.
Yellowstone eruption in 2016. Shocking new video shows what is really going on at Yellowstone. Oh boy, look at that. Looks like over the past week, our planet has been hit by large earthquakes. After large earthquake, and according to volcano discovery, there are 38 volcanoes around the world that are erupting right now. We have seen a dramatic spike in global seismic activity that is unlikely anything that we have seen in ages. And that is why we're going on a Yellowstone. What is going on in Yellowstone is incredibly alarming. Geologists tell us that a full-blown eruption of the Yellowstone supervolcano would have up to 2,000 times the power of the Mount St. Helens volcanic eruption of 1980, and approximately 2/3 of the country would immediately become uninhabitable. Yeah, that's not very good. Can you imagine 2/3 of the country? If this all hits, where do you put all these people? Where do they go? What do they do?
They'll come up here to Canada. That's what they'll go. Dry land. I'm telling you, something's definitely happening. Something's up.
Will that even help if we have them here?
If they want to leave.
Like, you think they will? You think that would help? I don't know. Hopefully so, but let's hope that this doesn't happen.
I say nothing.
Let's hope nothing happens.
Yeah.
Okay. Where am I now? Okay.
Okay, but if anything is to happen, it's okay, because this is what's gonna come to people, so people will think FEMA.
FEMA prepares for something big, says insider. Major strain on fault lines, major separation of landmass inside U.S. Could this be the pole shift that we're talking about? Is Planet X on its way? Unknown perturbator causing disruptions to Earth's tectonic plate waters. FEMA prepares for worse, insider admits. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, oh.
There you go. FEMA, look at the Earth. React.
YouTuber Tom Lukeshu met with a retired Army colonel and others, including geologists, seismologists, and scientists, Sunday, to hear about their concerns about a newly predicted wave caliber of natural disasters expected to strike the planet. Shockingly, one of the speakers at the meeting had a family member who worked for FEMA and decided to relay the information he had been given to attendees of the meeting. According to Lipshu, the man said that FEMA is expecting an escalation in natural disasters like never recorded in history. They are very concerned at this point in time about losing critical infrastructure, certain parts as far as water and so on, Lipshu said. Lipshu also said that geologists, seismologists, and scientists were all dumbfounded to what is causing the major strain on the fault lines. They are saying that they are very concerned about this, about water weight, Lipshu said. Lipshu said that they are concerned about the weight near coastlines and are even preparing for a mass separation of land mass possible near the New Madrid Fault at Cascadia subduction zone off the Pacific coast. Now, why isn't this in the mainstream news? You tell me.
People don't want to.
People.
The government, the mainstream don't want to feel people. Fear.
Or they don't want to cause them any harm. Like they don't want to cause a mass panic and everything. They only say it when something happens.
And here in Montreal, we're on a fault line too.
So we could get hit one day.
Yes, and if we don't do a show, you'll know why. You'll all know why.
Well, that would be one of the. Trust me, that would be the last thing on our minds is doing a show if we're caught in the middle of this.
But people have to excuse us to why we're not doing a show in that case.
The Pentagon counter zombie martial law plan concentrate firepower to the head. What level of hell is the process of descending upon this earth? The twisted minds of strategic thinking must consider all contingencies and prepare to defend against it. And whether it seems like a joke or not, the Pentagon has a document preparing its forces for the remote possibility or perhaps imminent cult film future pre-programmed through the media of an all-out zombie apocalypse. The U.S. military has always been the one place the government has a plan forever in preparation mode and ready to yank a blueprint off the shelf for almost any contingency. Incredibly, the Defense Department has a response. If zombies attack and the armed forces had to eradicate flesh-eating walkers in order to preserve the sanctity of human life among the non-zombie humans. The plan fulfilled fictional contingency planning guidance, tasking for U.S. strategic commands to develop a comprehensive plan to undertake military operations to preserve non-zombie humans from the threat posed by a zombie horde. CO Canop 888's plan summary plan reads, American TV viewers know that all the twists and turns of the debasing fight against undead hordes of the human race, unconscious automatons intent on eating brains and overrunning humanity. But to spoil the fun before you've had it, keep in mind that this entire document, though real, holds a double meaning, alluding to the plan for maintaining dominance over the masses who are largely unthinking and tend to follow propaganda prompts and orders to disobey. And its authors note in the document's disclaimer section, this plan was not actually designed as a joke. Military planners assigned to the U.S. Okay, so they have a plan set. But could it be? How the heck are zombies going to come out of this? I don't get that part.
Very simple. Thanks to Facebook and the phones and people being all connected, the government will want everybody to be zombies.
Yeah, but flesh-eating zombies.
Yeah, because they'll be hungry. There'll be no more food for people to eat. Pretty
Yeah.
very sick.
Yeah, pretty sad. Maybe it'll take care of the Olympic Stadium problem. Yeah, putting people in FEMA camps. Or putting the zombies there. I wonder.
This one, straight
German,
off the prayers.
yes, German-Italian intelligence terror attacks planned this summer at European resorts. German and Italian intelligence agencies have uncovered evidence indicating that terrorists are planning attacks this summer at resorts in France, Italy, and Spain. The information was swiftly received by Italian intelligence, who passed it along to German counterpart, the German Federal Intelligence Service. The report notes that it is claimed that the intelligence comes from a credible source in Africa, which reports that the terrorists have made concrete plans to launch the attacks. Reported the intelligence officials named the beach areas that are definitely targeted by terrorists, and they include resorts in southern France, the Costa del Sol in Spain, and both coasts in Italy. The newspaper quoted by unidentified high-rank German officials as stating it could be a whole new dimension in terror. Holiday beaches cannot be protected. Oh boy. And this is, of course, by ISIS. Yeah, right. So who knows what's going to happen. I hope there's going to be no more problems in anytime soon, anytime, anywhere, especially in the summertime. But if this happens, at least we knew.
You have been warned. Everybody has been warned.
They sure have.
I'm just going down. They got people, if they want, they can pause the video or show, I should say show, and just read it.
Exactly, and the links will be posted up on the description after the show's done.
Yes, let's hope none of the hairpins. Right there.
Yeah, for sure. No, we don't want it. No, I don't want it. We don't want that. Not at all.
All right, speaking of Facebook, right there, useless Facebook. Right here. Oh, how this site gets me so pissed off.
CIA funding companies that specialize in social media spying. Well, we should have never joined it in 2006. FedBook. Reflecting the CIA's increasing focus on monitoring social media, the spies agency venture capital arm in QTEL has made investments in social media mining and surveillance from The Intercept, revealed Thursday. According to a document obtained by journalist Li Fang in QTEL, in funding companies that monitor, collect, and analyze social media traffic and activities on platforms such as Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. The investments were previously undisclosed. For instance, Fang points to Pathar, a social media intelligence company whose product, Dunami, is already being used by the FBI to mine Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and other social medias to determine networks of associations, centers of influence, and potential signs of radicalization. Yeah, right. All this stuff has been planned. Radicalization. It's all been done before, and it's been planned by the Illuminati. It's just more ways to get us all to be taken care of and being watched and monitored. FBI and CIA scraping the internet for social media use digital dust is hardly a new phenomenon. What the heck is digital dust? Bits and pieces of information that monitor us.
So that's the thing. That's the thing with Facebook. Why it's no good. It's use lazy. It's very use lazy, if you ask me.
Yeah, all of it. Everything's useless.
Hold on there. Hold on now. Hold on. Let me make it a little bit bigger. Hold on. Now that's too big there. They're right there. Now we're going to get into CERN.
Turkey's Bilgi University joins CERN's efforts to unlock dark matter. And here we go. Yeah, there it is. Let's get to the information. I can't wait. Turkey's Istanbul Bilgi University has begun collaborations with the European Organization for Nuclear Research, also known as CERN, to become part of its Atlas experiment, which aims to observe dimensions and particles that could make up dark matter, a mysterious substance that is believed by researchers to make up most of the universe. It makes up most of the universe, but we don't know what it is. In March, Istanbul Bilgi University became CERN's project coordinator at the national level, an effort which will advance scientific and technological fields in the country. According to the project's coordinator, Professor Serkan Alkaltin, who announced the details of the collaboration at a press conference on the university's campus on April 13. As the project's national coordinator, Bilgi will coordinate all scientific efforts at the national levels that are conducted with regards to the Atlas experiment. They want to open up another dimension. Don't we have enough problems in this dimension?
But the question is why Turkey? Turkey, always Turkey. A lot of people out there don't like Turkeys, right? The turkeys.
Yeah.
Nobody likes turkeys.
There must be a reason. There must be a darn reason why they do that, you know?
Mass, they want to do genocides to the Greeks, to the Armenians, you know? That's the turkeys for you, everybody. That's the turkeys.
Hope we don't get the Turks after us now.
No. We're just rehashing what they done. But I like everybody. You know, you have to like everybody out there.
No, but yeah, you have to love them too. You have to love them, Mario.
Yes, we love everybody. Everybody is, hold on there, Robbie. Let me just make this a little.
Mario loves everybody, so you know.
All right. So the next one right here.
Well, China refuses to make its new gold-backed yuan convertible to or from US dollars. In a shocking move likely to crush the US economy overnight, China is refusing to make its new global gold-backed yuan convertible to or US dollars from US dollars. The next yuan, which will be gold-backed, will be introduced next Tuesday, April 19, 2016. That was yesterday. China decided to make the yuan, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but a more reliable currency, with the International Monetary Fund, IMF, agreed to add to the list of world currencies and used for global reserves and international trade. China has been collecting huge amounts of gold bullion for years. Now with a new global-backed yuan to be issued next Tuesday, the entire world will have a choice of a new currency to use for international trade. The old US dollar, which is backed by nothing, or the new Chinese yuan, which is backed by gold. Which currency would you use? With this new currency, is issued, countries that will have been forced to use the US dollars for decades and have had to keep billions of dollars in their foreign currency reserves will be free to dump those dollars. However, they won't be able to dump them to China for the new gold-backed yuan. China has reportedly decided there will be no conversion of gold-backed yuan or from US dollars. Will this cause the financial collapse, financial apocalypse that we see at the end here? Time will tell. Time will certainly tell.
But now, let me just explain this to you now. This is a reason for people there. Where is the one where it says backed by nothing? That's what everybody here in Canada and United States of America is working for right there. You see that? Backed by nothing.
Backed by a piece of paper, no? With nothing.
Yes. Then this is what I've always been saying, that everything, all the money, be backed by gold with it, which it isn't. So it makes you wonder.
We go to work basically to get a piece of paper that doesn't exist. Or
now it's not worth nothing.
Or now it's digital numbers in our bank accounts. That's worth nothing.
Exactly. It's enough to make us want to revolt, but the sheeples are still sleeping. They like to sleep there.
Exactly. But the thing is, we cannot let them win. But most people don't care. Most people
Of
are like,
course.
they're like indebted, or I don't know. It's we know what's going on. They don't know. They have to find out there. I'm telling you.
Now this one feels right into our guest for tonight.
UFO hunter says he saw time traveling aliens leaving Earth through wormholes on ISS live stream in latest bizarre claim. Post claims ISS streams filmed a UFO near Earth and giant energy beam. In one theory, UFO hunter says beam is from a UFO leaving the ocean, or he suggests it may be a wormhole used to transport aliens through time. But the claim says it has nothing to worry, just time-traveling aliens. A giant beam of green light shoots out from Earth and could be a trail left behind the departure of time-traveling aliens, UFO hunters claim. The light supposedly captured by NASA during a live stream from International Space Station on Sunday, which is claimed to be hundreds of miles wide. In two bizarre explanations, the conspiracy theorists propose that the energy beam has come from a UFO leaving the ocean, and that it may be a wormhole used to transport aliens through time. But don't forget, folks, we're getting a guy that is a time traveler on our show later on tonight, so that's going to be amazing.
I'm looking
I can't
forward.
wait for that.
We're all looking forward for the yacht.
Indeed. For sure. For sure. So am I, trust me.
And you know, whenever we talk UFOs like these, Trish is just around the corner.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And here's pictures right there. Not moon, UFO.
UFO? Yeah. A mysterious object emerging in just above Earth's horizon, followed by the appearance of a glowing beam, was spotted during the live NASA youth stream. From the ISS, in the footage, the round object can be seen just to the left of center. It stays in one position for some time before ascending upward and off screen. Not something we want to really see, you know. What is a wormhole? Because people asked us before, what is a wormhole? Well, here it is. Space-time can be warped and distorted. It takes an enormous amount of matter and energy to create such distortions, but theoretically, distortions are possible. In the case of the wormhole, a shortcut is made by warping the fabric of space-time. Imagine folding a piece of paper with two pencils, marked drawn on it to represent 2 points in space-time. The lines between them show the distance from one point to the other, normal space-time. If the paper is now bent and folded almost over double, the equivalent to warping space-time, then poking the pencil through the paper provides a much shorter way of linking the 2 points. In the same way, a wormhole would create a shortcut. The problem with using wormholes to travel in space or time is they are inherently unstable. When a particle enters a wormhole, it also creates fluctuations that causes the structure to collapse in on itself. I wonder if that the fabric of time has not been messed up already, and that's why weird stuff happens all the time. Maybe that's what deja vu is all about. Conspiracy theories say that this may be the same craft that has since moved away, dismissing the idea that it could be lens flare or even the moon. You notice every time that people talk about stuff that's going on, they always use the word conspiracy theories. Like that, they think we're all tinfoil hats. People in tinfoil hats.
You think we're crazy?
That we're crazy. But we're not crazy, are we?
No. We're in control. That's what we are. We're very, very and
Exactly.
control.
Exactly.
So shall we get Triage on so she can say in her lovely voice just exactly what we need to hear?
Exactly. Yeah, we're gonna get Trish on, and folks, don't when we come back around 8:15, we're gonna get Bob Mitchell and Jason Quitt with their book Forbidden Knowledge: Revelations of a Multi-Dimensional Time Traveler. And you don't want to miss. These guys are from Toronto, Canada, the land. If you're listening, I think you are, because you love our show and we love having you on. They're from Toronto, these guests. So that's gonna be wonderful to have. So don't go anywhere, folks. That's it.
All right, so here she is. Here's Triage.
In my early 20s, I started having terrifying experiences of sleep paralysis. I would be awakened by a presence in my room, but I would be frozen and unable to wake myself up. These experiences started to happen more frequently, and I started to become more and more conscious of what was going on. One night, as I was trying very hard to shake myself out of this paralysis, something happened. IWASN? Team expecting. I shook myself so hard that I popped out of my body and had my first out-of-body experience. As I came out of my body, I could see myself lying in bed frozen, and there was a very tall being standing at the end of my bed. I knew that this was a genuine experience and was beyond my comprehension. From that moment on, my perception of this world has shifted. Ever since my first out-of-body experience, I found that under the right conditions I could leave my body and start to explore these new dimensions that had been open to me. As I started to venture out into these new worlds, many different beings, guides, masters, and energies started to come into my life. They would often wake me up and take me out of my body on journeys to many places and time lines to show and teach me many new things. I was no longer the same person after experiencing these journeys. These beings gave me specific teachings to follow so I may live comfortably in this world. They said that the most important thing is to heal yourself, and only then could I affect change in others. Under their teachings and guidance, I sought out many teachers and masters to receive wisdom and healing. Since then, I have been given many powerful healing techniques and abilities to assist myself and others on the many paths of healing and enlightenment. Jason Quitt Biography Services Mission Statement. Biography: a graduate of the Institute of Energy Wellness and a student of Algonquin Shamanism. Jason has been training and working with many teachers, shamans, and traditional healers from around the world. Jason is also the author and teacher of Egyptian Postures of Power and the Yosef Codes, Methods of Personal Healing and Practice. As a channeler of universal and dimensional energies of healing, Jason combines these methods and modalities of energy medicine, shamanism, and dowsing to assist those on their own personal paths of healing and enlightenment. Jason is currently working on Tesla Magazine, Tesla Mania Exposition, and the Healing Field documentary.
Thank you very much there, Triage. You always make the show a little bit more interesting, as usual.
Exactly. I know, that's for sure. And yeah, we're really excited to get our guests. We'll be getting them in about 5 minutes. So, Mario, is there anything you want to add this week or anything that's on your mind, since we have we have a 5 minute time frame?
A lot of things. You know, I mean, the world has to start waking up there. They need to all start watching our show.
I know.
You know?
Oh yeah, for sure. You know, I mean, we love doing the show and everything, but it's a lot of work, though, eh? When we do this show just for you guys, and we appreciate that you come on our show. We can't thank you guys for coming on our show. We can't thank you guys enough.
Yes, we always appreciate you people out there coming on the MnRTV Live Show, because you're the people out there who make things happen, you know?
Indeed. Oh, for sure. Yeah, I know. And imagine that. I mean, I can't wait. I can't wait. Bob Mitchell, who works for MUFON, and he's an author also and a journalist. And I think he was a journalist for the Toronto Star for more than 35 years.
Yes, it sounds very.
Sorry, yeah, and he's an executive at MUFON. and we're going to be getting him and his partner, Jason Quitt, who is a multi-dimensional time traveler. So it'll be pretty interesting to get these dudes on also at the same time, so we could discuss with them all the questions that we may have for them, because I mean, it's not every day that you hear a time traveler or multi-dimension, and I think he went in the future and also in the past, so that's gonna be mind-blowing to get this. And we do it for you guys, folks. We do it for you. We try our best all the time to get you the best of the guests, the cream of the crop, as they say, the la creme de la creme.
And don't forget, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them on Chitango.
Exactly. Don't be bashful. Don't be sorry. Just ask us questions, and no matter what it is, we always ask our guests what it could be. What your answers. I mean, it's gonna be great. I mean, I'm sure you guys have questions, but just feel free to ask them once the show starts.
Yes.
And I just want to say to someone here, I'm back on my Windows Vista, believe it or not, because I can't use my Windows 10 to get guests on the Skype. So I have to use my Windows Vista, which next year will be obsolete. I shouldn't be using Vista now because there's certain updates I can't get, but I have to take a chance, I suppose. It's unreal, right?
See what we do for the MnRTV Live Show? This is what exactly we do, to please all you people out there,
Exactly, for sure. I mean, I just don't. Technology, I just don't get it. I mean, we move forward, but then we have to go backwards just to do this. Very good, Paulie. Very good. I'm proud of you. Because you just bought a new PC and insist on installing Windows 7.
Yes, Windows 7 is the best, better than 10. 10 is crap, garbage. That's what 10 is, garbage.
But you think I did a mistake buying a new PC?
You had no choice there.
Real bad thing about 8, it says your ability to scan your PC for illegal software. Oh no. And I have some on 10, I suppose.
10 is all there.
I think 10 is just a spy program, But I don't. To tell the truth, I don't use my. Last time I used my computer was Monday morning, I think. I hardly use it. I use my other stuff.
Hey there, Ryan.
Hey Ryan, welcome to the show. Oh, you mean 10? Yeah, I guess 10 has the ability to. Well, do you know, Paulie, what happens if they find illegal software? I don't know. I don't really have legal software. What's illegal software anyways? Like what? Like a cracked copy of Windows or something? Or
no, cracked copy of Word and cracked copy of any software that makes you download stuff for free.
No. I don't usually have these things.
Or Phase. Cracked copy of Phase.
I'll use other programs, I'll use other programs because I don't want to use Office. Obviously, just, if I use Office, I'll use this other program I'm going to use. I'm not going to go out and buy it. I mean, I spent enough money on a computer, $700, $800 plus on a computer that, now, to do Skype, I have to use my tablet or use my Vista.
The line has a Chromebook, no?
Oh, Len, I have a Chromebook. Me too, I have a Chromebook, but it's very hard. Like there's a way you could get Skype on it, and the problem is with getting Skype on it is there's a workaround, but then it might screw up the Skype. And I had a little problem with my Chromebook. I have to get it reformatted and I have to re-add it, but my Chromebook is not big enough. I can't see when I do the show. I have to buy a bigger one. But Chromebook is amazing. It is amazing, Chromebook. I love it. I love it more than the Windows 10. But anyhow, enough with the rant. Let's get our guest on. Let me call Bob Mitchell up and take it from there. So Mario, let's hit it, buddy.
Are you ready? I'm ready, Edda.
Yeah, let's
Let's
go.
get this
All
done.
right.
So stick in there, everybody. And you know, it's great. It's we're always excited whenever we get the guest on. All right. Yes, sir.
Exactly.
We're all ready. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Paula, Rosanna, Leland.
Hello.
Hi, Bob. Welcome to.
How you doing, Robert?
I'm great. Welcome to the MnRTV Live Show. How are you tonight, sir?
I'm great. I'm great. I was just talking with Jason, so he's on Skype right now too. So we got to figure out how to get us all on there.
Okay. Oh boy. Yes. Yes. We must figure it out.
Well, Jason knows how to do that.
Okay. All right. So by all means, let him do it because we've never really done this before, like 3 people on. But it'll be great once we're able to get Jason on with us.
Yeah, I just got to figure out how to do it while I'm talking to you.
Okay. Add people probably.
Sure. What? I'm just gonna text him saying I'm on, and you get all of us on.
Yes, for sure.
He did that last night. He did it last night. So.
Okay. Yeah. But because I have you on now, unless you know, it said add people, add participants.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Maybe that's what it is. Okay. Bob, I'm on hold now. Okay, they're calling me. Let me answer this. Hello?
Yeah, there he is.
Jason,
Robert, are you there?
hear me?
Yeah. Jason's here too.
Hi, Jason. Hello, Jason. Welcome to the MnRTV Live Show.
Thank you.
All right, so let's start up. Go ahead.
We're all set to go.
We're all
set to go.
We are. All right, let's begin this. This is great to have both of you guys on our show. Welcome again. And would each of you want to tell my audience who you are and what your work is?
Okay, I guess I'll start.
Go ahead, Bob, for sure. Yes.
Okay, it's my name's Bob Mitchell. I worked for the Toronto Star for more than 30 years as covering crime and sports, and then took a buyout in May 2013 and became involved with MUFON originally, and then one thing led to another, and I ended up meeting people who wanted to tell me their personal stories about their experiences with abductions, and that led to 2 books, one called Intrusion, Alien Encounters, and another one called What If? Close Encounters of the Unusual Kind. And it was while I was at the Alien Cosmic Expo, I ran into Jason and his incredible story, and we got together and co-wrote the book Forbidden Knowledge, Revelations of a Multi-Dimensional Time Traveler, which we're going to be talking about tonight. And the rest, as they say, is history. It's become the #1 book on Amazon's UFO Kindle site, and we're in the top 10 of Amazon books for UFO, and we just keep soaring.
That's wonderful.
So that's about my Cole's Notes version. Let Jason give a little spiel about who he is.
Yeah, Jason, go ahead.
All right. Thank you. I would call myself a lifetime experiencer. And what that means is my whole life I've had paranormal experiences. And I went to the Institute of Energy Wellness, and I graduated in energy medicine. And then I studied Algonquin shamanism. And I've just been going around the world and meeting different energy healers and teaching my Qigong method called the Egyptian Postures of Power. And I met Bob last summer, and we decided to get together and write this book. And it's been flying ever since.
Wow. So this book. I've looked at it. I haven't read it yet completely because I've got a copy of it, but it seems like amazing. So when you guys hooked up, how did this all happen? Like you guys just started talking about multi-dimension time traveling. Is that how it started?
Well, no, not really. It was kind of funny and unusual. I was at that conference selling my book at the time, which was Intrusion, and I was a guest speaker. And Jason was one of the guest speakers too, but we had never met each other. I really didn't know much about him, other than the organizer, Joanne Eady, told me I had to meet him. And didn't know why, but I was selling the book, sitting with Stan Friedman, and who was selling his books, and lo and behold, this very tall person who is actually 6'5" walked up to my table and looked down at myself and the book that I had, and on the cover of the book was a drawing of a mantis being that one of the experiencers, or actually two of the experiencers in that book, had encountered. And he basically said that he had met that being and knew all about it, and that was basically it. And then I went and saw his, attended his lecture, and the first thing he said in his lecture was that he came into this world with pre-birth memories, and in fact, he chose his parents. And when I heard that, something just clicked in my mind, and I said, I have to write a book about this guy.
Yeah.
But I didn't know anything about the ancient Egyptian past lives or his future lives or his time traveling at the time. I had no idea where it was going to take me, but in his talk, he started talking about the ancient past, and it just intrigued me more. And maybe Jason can take over from that point of view.
Yes, go ahead, Jason. Is this like sort of like a reincarnation?
Yes, it's absolutely a reincarnation. And so, yeah, coming into this world, I had a very strong memory burnt into my brain. And that memory was coming to this world with many other children. And I was led down a hallway by different women. And they said, now it's time for you to choose your parents. And they took me down a hallway and showed me which door to enter. And as I entered this door, it was like I was going into a movie theater. And in front of me, this vortex opened up, this portal opened up. And it was almost like a viewing window. So I got to watch different scenes of my soon-to-be parents. And then after that, I was born. So, you know, when I first learned how to speak, I would go up to my mother and say, you know, aren't you happy that I chose you as my parents? You know, so it was like the first memory that was really ingrained in me.
This is just mind blowing. And you know, I've heard of a lot of things in my life, but do we all choose our parents?
Well, you know, I thought that we all did. I mean, that's kind of the impression that was given to me. And I've actually met many other people who said they've had similar experiences of pre-birth. So I'm definitely not alone in this. But what I found out later is that we reincarnate with people that we're familiar with. So they call it our soul family. So we continually reincarnate with people that we're familiar with and we're karmically tied to.
So that means...
Go ahead.
No, sorry, because I'm just like freaking out over here a little. So that means all the people that I have in my life now, I wonder why I'm with this person, how come, and it's just because they were in my past lives, they were with me.
That's right. Or, you know, in dimensional lines or different timelines. And it seems to me that somehow the people that are in our lives, they're in our lives because we're somehow karmically connected to them. So we have some type of issues we need to work out. There might be conflict, or there might be people on our path that will actually take us where we need to go. So there's this give and take karmically with the people that we come into this world with.
But what about
now? I was going to just interject here for a second. One of the things that we've got from our late night talk show hosts like yourself. And for people who have read the book, one of the things they keep asking is, if we get to choose our parents, why in the world would somebody choose parents that are alcoholics or parents that are abusive?
Yes, I was just going to ask that.
And I think Jason has an answer to that.
Go ahead, Jason.
That was your question too?
Yeah, I was just going to ask it. Just one more second. I was going to ask it. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, we're not all angels. And what I've learned and experienced from hearing other people's stories is that, like for one example, let's say this person in a past life, let's say they murdered a bunch of people, and then they're back into this life, and the people that they murdered are actually their children, and they have to care for them now to like re-establish that karma.
Okay.
I know it sounds very strange.
No, I'm on that wavelength because I've studied such things before, and yes, that does make sense in a way. It's like they're paying, right? They're paying for what they did by caring for them. It's like sort of like a way for the punishment.
That's right. And then they learn how to love these people. And then there's some people that are born, let's say in families, let's say that are starving or have drug addictions or sexual abuse. This could be, karmically following them because it's a cycle that's never been broken. So it's like the universe continues to give you opportunities to break that cycle.
My gosh.
So even though it's absolutely horrible, and we live in a world, I haven't met anybody that has a perfect life. Every life is challenging in its own way.
I suppose even the rich people have problems.
Oh yeah, of course they do. Of course they do. Money doesn't solve anything, really. It just maybe puts a Band-Aid on some things. But if you have all the money in the world, you'll be bored tomorrow.
And when Jason says that he chose his parents and he thought that everybody did, you got to remember that when he was growing up as a kid, he thought that was normal. He just thought everybody chose the parents like he did and didn't think he was anything different than anybody else. It was only when he realized as he got older that he was a little bit different than a lot of other people.
Yes. So, yeah, like I just thought I was completely normal. And, I had a lot of experiences as a child growing up where, I had very scary things come to me in the middle of the night. And they would, it would almost like they would take me out of my body and they would show me different things. And I just thought it was a nightmare. And my parents said I was just having a nightmare. So that's all I thought it was. I thought everybody experienced these things like I did. And it wasn't until I was 11 years old that I went to a new school and I met a friend. And all these memories of a past life that I had with this person came back into my memory. And it was a very emotional past life. And I remember, once these memories came back, I ran to this person and I was just so happy to see them again. And I said, don't you remember who I am? Don't you remember who we were? And then I told them, don't you remember that I killed you in a past life? I was 11 years old when I told that to this person. And I learned quickly that maybe I'm the only one that sees the world like this.
When you chose your parents, where were you, and how old were you? Were you like a different person?
Right when I started to form sentences. Like that's how early it was. And even my mother still talks about how I used to tell her that.
But you chose your parents in a previous life, right? If I'm correct?
Oh yeah, and I really believe that it's like my mother now in this life was a daughter of mine in another life.
So these reincarnations cycles, do they ever end? And if they do, what happens? Where do we go?
I believe conscious eternal. There's no such thing as an end. We just choose different experiences and paths. So we can choose to karmically leave what we call Earth and stop having reincarnation cycles here. And we can go to another dimension or another state of being, or we can choose to reincarnate as other types of beings on other planets or planes of existences. It's not just Earth, it's all life, and not just in this universe, it's a multiverse.
Yes.
So it's almost like you have infinite choice of experience.
Let's get into the multiverse now. I'm sure I've researched a bit of it. There's like bubble universes, right? Inside a multiverse, and outside of the multiverses, there's something called the omniverse. Do you know anything about this?
Yes, and it's a very strange thing because, first of all, we're so tiny here, as human beings to even think outside our solar system. But the universe is so unbelievably massive, we can't even put a scale to it. And then to think that there's more than one universe, and then outside of that is clusters of universes, which we'll get into the omniverse. It's almost like it's a never-ending hologram, and that's what a hologram is. It will continue. It's like a fractal. It'll continue out indefinitely in the same sacred geometry patterns. It will continue out outwards. So if you look up into the night sky, you're looking into infinity. And if you look down into your cells and DNA, it's never ending as well. You're looking down into infinity. So everything around us is infinite space.
And how do we get to another multiverse?
Oh, it's simply, we're already there. And this is something that we don't realize being in a human consciousness, is that we actually exist in multiple timelines, multiple realities, parallel universes, and other planets of existence right now. Our consciousness is spread to so many other places, but there's separation and dividers that keep us from entering into those life streams.
That is absolutely amazing. And what is the omniverse? Is there anything outside the omniverse? Isn't that the be all and it all of it all?
I would just say that it's the same answer out as it is in. We're just experiencing consciousness. And you can call consciousness source, or God, or creator, or creation. It's almost like there's an infinite consciousness that envelops anything that we could put our mind to. And the most amazing thing is, because we're part of this consciousness, we're not separate from it. If we look further and further out, are we seeing further out? Or are we creating new realities further out with our consciousness looking?
Do you think there's some kind of...
And all of that is very... I was going to say, all of that is very deep. And it's hard for the average person to understand just the concept of reincarnation, never mind the concept that there's another Bob Mitchell, another Robert Mariolaur, and another Jason Quitt right now as we speak, living in a different parallel or multi-universe with our consciousness, and that they don't know each other.
Yeah, and I used to sit and meditate with this Zen master. His name was Ganuk. Yeah, this guy was, he was like a real Japanese master, and he'll just look you in the eyes and just say, every thought form that you think creates a universe, and you don't even realize it.
Because
and even that's deep.
Because I've heard
that's what I'm saying, is you could get into philosophy and spiritualism and all these things. They're concepts that our minds can understand, but until you've experienced it, they're just really fun ideas, right?
And Jason's experienced some of this through the astral dimension and his astral dimension travels. He's not one of these time travelers that travels in this physical form. All of his traveling has gone through the astral world by beings who have introduced it to him. And perhaps we can take the listeners to that direction.
Yes, I was just going to do it very soon anyhow. Yes, time traveling. I mean, I'd love to time travel and go back in the past and correct mistakes that I've done, so like that I could have a different type of life than I have now. So how do I go about it, if that's possible?
Okay. So this is the thing about time travel that people they kind of misunderstand, is that, let's say, for example, that physical time travel exists, and you have a machine, and you physically go back into time. Now, if you say, I'm going to correct all these things that I've done, or I'm going to, play the stock market or win the lottery or whatever you want to do back in the past, you're actually creating a parallel timeline. So if you come back to this timeline, you'll still be you and nothing's changed. But if you stay on that parallel timeline and you don't leave, then you're creating a new life.
So
but you're also creating another reality, another parallel reality.
But the thing is, let's say I want to go into another parallel reality tonight and I want to correct stuff. How do I put myself there, and will I disappear from here? I know it's kind of complicated.
Well, my experience with time travel was never physical.
Okay.
My physical body never left this world. So what happens is that I would be pulled out of my body. So I would now be in the astral form, or fourth dimensional or astral state, and there will be beings there. Now these beings, they almost look like shadows. You can see their form, but you couldn't actually make out any detail of these beings. And what they would do is they would take me and shoot me up into outer space, and I could see the planet Earth below me, and then they would direct me down to different places on the planet and drop me off there. Now when I go back to the Earth, I'm now in a different timeline, and I'm not physical. I am in my astral state, so I could experience whatever's going on in that timeline, but I cannot interact at all. So I'm just an observer, and no one can see me.
So I'd have to,
so this is the type.
Okay, I'd have to go into time traveling. I'd have to get these beings to take me out of my body. Is that correct? By meditating.
That's what happened to me. But through meditation or dream work, sometimes you actually just go there by yourself. I've had spontaneous travels that I was by myself, so I wasn't guided by anybody.
Okay. One thing, is the Earth round?
Well, I know this is a hot topic now.
Because it's a hot topic all over the internet, and I'm getting accused of being silly because I'm thinking the Earth's round. So, so, I mean, I study conspiracy, so who knows,
Well, I'll tell you two versions. In a third dimensional physical sense, I have never been in outer space and seen the planet.
Okay.
In this life. But when I leave my body and I'm in the fourth dimension and I go into outer space, the Earth is a sphere.
Okay. Well,
so I can't discount anybody because I have not personally been there physically with my physical eyes. But in the astral state, it's been a sphere.
Okay. And I've experienced also sleep paralysis. Many times I had these beings come and get me, but they were like shadow creatures, and I was very afraid. It seems like they were possessing me. So What is sleep paralysis? Why was I getting that? Is that because I was dabbling in the occult in the Ouija board back a couple of years ago?
Yes, that definitely that can do it. But see, my experience was I would be frozen at night in sleep paralysis, and I'd be screaming in my mind to wake up or move a finger or do something. And as this is happening, I can feel things walking around my room, right? So it wasn't a friendly thing. Like I was really afraid. I didn't know what was happening to me. And one night, I just couldn't take it anymore. And I shook so violently to wake myself up that I popped out of my body and had an outer body experience. And when I came out of my body, you know, I could see my physical body laying in bed, and at the foot of my bed, I could see this very tall shadow being that almost looked like a Grim Reaper, you know? And it just scared me so much because I wasn't expecting any of this to happen to me. And I just popped back in my body and woke up. But ever since I left my body through sleep paralysis, I never had sleep paralysis again, unintentionally. So having that experience, yes, I was very afraid, and I didn't know what this being was, but it's almost like this being opened a door for me. You know what I mean? They kind of said, look, there's something outside your physical body. So it really got my curiosity, is like, what is this new world that I've just entered into? And I would actually put myself into sleep paralysis. I would go to sleep at night and try to go to sleep with my mind still awake. And when my body finally falls asleep, I would shake myself and try to roll out of my body. And then I would start to, you know, play in this new experience, in this new world that was just opened up to me. And that's when these beings started to come to me to take me on these time travel experiences.
Beings, are these aliens?
These beings, I would call them multidimensional.
Okay.
They would definitely be aliens by our definition. Even though I did not see their physical form, they just looked like either invisible shadows or outlines. And but I have come in contact with many different alien species that we would consider alien, like that have some type of form that you could define as this is a reptilian, or this is a mantis, or an insectoid, or this is, you know, there's like a whole list of these beings. And what I learned is that there's
Jason.
That worked.
That worked. I don't know what happened, but I do shows every week, and every time I do deep shows like this, I think that there's people that don't want to get out this information. I don't know if it's the UFO people or the Illuminati, but this is something that happens pretty often, just when I do the show.
Yes, it's starting to happen to me too, and very interesting.
Because it said my internet died. It never dies, and the modem's working perfectly. So I don't know, you know? I think there's some powers that be that are doing this.
I definitely have been pushing some buttons, I'll tell you that.
Okay, so now that we're back, where were we?
I was saying that I've come in contact with hundreds of different, what we would call extraterrestrials or multidimensional beings, and they never come to you and say, hi, my name is this person from this planet. It's almost like they come to you, and it's almost like you're supposed to know who they are right away. So it's a very strange introduction when you meet these beings. It's like sometimes I ask them and they'll give me an answer, but most of the time they'll look at me very confused, like, you don't know who I am? That's the kind of look they give me. And what I've learned from these beings is that the reason they come to me and the reason they come to a lot of people is because they're part of our celestial family. And I mean that we actually live past lives as with these beings. And they can come and visit us psychically, telepathically, astrally. They can travel here. So a lot of these beings that I've met, some of them I instantly remembered that they were my family. And some of them I was just very confused of who they were, but they seemed to know me quite well. So, you know, this is a learning experience once you start to get into these worlds.
And do you like parallel worlds, or you're just gone there, but your physical body's still here, but your astral body is there, so you're still sort of where you're still in here, but in another timeline or dimension?
That's right. Yeah, so it's sometimes, like I say, we're living in multiple places at once. And let's say I'm here physically as Jason, but I'm living as a mantis being on another dimension as well. Or I'm living as this being from the Pleiades, or this being from Arcturus, or this being from another universe altogether. And it's almost like myself or my family is saying, well, let's pay Jason on Earth a visit and remind him who he is.
Wow,
let's wake him up a little.
Okay, that's like, and like your book, you Bob, your book says forbidden knowledge. So this is not information that most people want to know, should know, right? They don't want us knowing this. Am I correct? Hello?
Bob?
I thought Bob was there.
Yeah, he is there. He's probably on mute.
Oh, okay. Bob, if you're there. Okay.
Well, I'll answer the question. The reason we chose to call this book Forbidden Knowledge was because these topics are so taboo. And then, hold on, Bob just messaged me. We can't hear you.
He can't hear us, but I think people in the show could hear us.
I think he could hear us, but we can't hear him for some reason.
Okay. Oh, this does get complicated sometimes.
No, you just gotta roll with it. And the reason we called it Forbidden Knowledge is it's just that this information that I'm just talking right now openly about, it's very taboo. It's just stuff that for some reason we're not supposed to know about. And people get quite angry when I talk about this stuff. It enrages a lot of people. And there's a lot of belief systems and a lot of fear that comes up in people once they start to delve into this type of information. So it is still a very touchy subject and very taboo.
I don't know if you listened to the show, Bob, before, but like I was saying with Jason before, the forbidden knowledge is what you call your book, and I think that this is what's happening. Is they don't want this information out. That's why we're having all kinds of problems with the computers, which I never usually have, unless I'm doing a show that's deeply involved in this. So, Bob, what are your thoughts on this and aliens and stuff like this? Let's get your thoughts on this.
Before I met Jason, I had, I guess, one view of aliens, but it was sort of evolving because I started really believing that most of the abductions that were taking place in our world were actually taking place in the astral world. And by what I mean by that is that people were not having a physical abduction. They were consciously taken out of their bodies and taken somewhere where that experience was being encountered. So many of them would tell me that they remember being taken out through the room, through the walls, or up through the ceiling and into a spaceship. And physically, that is very hard to figure out how that could happen, except if some kind of portal or a dimensional opening would happen in your room. But at the same time, spouses would say that they never left the room, and their kids said they never left the room. So I started thinking that that these people were absolutely certain that they had these experiences, and they never changed their story, even under some of them will be put under hypnosis, that it made more sense that it was their consciousness that was being taken someplace, and they, it was such a shock to just be taken that they didn't really realize physical body. They were seeing through their conscious eyes, and they were fixated on the beings rather than on their own body. So I thought that most of that was happening in the astral world. That's not to say that some of the stuff takes place in the physical world, but I'm becoming more and more intrigued by the possibility that the physical abductions may have something to do not just with the alien entities, but in cahoots with governments. And why they're doing it, that's a whole other question. But there's no doubt we are not the only species in the universe, and there's no doubt that we're living in a timeline and a period on this planet Earth that isn't quite what we think it is. That there's something going on and it's being controlled not only by our own government or a shadow government, but also by the aliens themselves. But meeting Jason and learning more about the multiverse and how these beings are mostly existing in the fourth dimension, it just makes more sense to me that we're being visited by all kinds of beings, and it's not just in this time period. We've been visited for thousands, if not millions of years, and that Earth has had more than one area or period of civilization. And Jason, he has, I guess, living proof, if you want to put it that way, through his astral travels, that civilization on Earth goes way back further than we've been taught by the mainstream historians and archaeologists.
That is correct. That's true. There is something going on that we just simply don't understand fully right now. And Jason's work that he's done it's incredible. What's the difference between let's say the third and fourth dimension? Jason?
Sure. All right. So the third dimension, I would say, is the dimension of physicality, and we navigate this world through our five senses. And I would say that the fourth dimension is the dimension of our mind. It's outside of our bodies. And it's in the mind that we can project ourselves into other realities and other timelines.
And people say that when they're in that fourth dimension, and Jason can attest to this, that it seems more real than even living in the third dimension. And for people that only live in the third dimension, that may be hard to understand. But
right.
Everybody that I've talked to who have been able to astral travel will tell you that that's where it seems like the real reality is.
Right. So this is almost like the numbed down version of what reality could be. And when you're out in the fourth dimension, it's almost like all your senses are heightened. You have different abilities. What I found really interesting about leaving your body is that you can zoom in and out of things just with your thoughts. So if I'm in my bedroom, for example, and I'm out of my body, and there's a crystal or something at the far end of my room, I can literally just go and zoom closer and closer and closer right into that object, and then I can come back to my body. So you get all these very different senses and abilities when you leave the body.
And I guess Jason will tell you that everybody has this ability, but only a few of us know how to do it.
I think we're all naturally we're all naturally multidimensional beings, but for some reason, because of I would say our upbringing, our belief systems, we're not taught about these worlds, and we're not taught about who we are. In fact, our entire history, it's almost been erased, and then we have this kind of, this is what our history is, dating back 6,000 years, and that's all we are. So we have this kind of history of who we are, but we've lost our ancestry, we've lost our roots. So it's almost like right when we're born into this world, we're born with amnesia. We don't understand who we are. We don't understand we're multidimensional beings. And because we're not in tune like that, there's children are extremely psychic and gifted when they're young. If they start to have experiences, it'll just be passed off as nightmares or, imaginary friends, or, I remember hearing a story and I felt so bad for this person. They said that when they were young, they could see auras and angels and all these things. They can see it perfectly with their own eyes. And when she told her parents at a young age, her parents said, and they put her on heaven. So it's like almost that programming that it's like, okay, if you live outside of this known reality that we've told you is the real reality, if you live a little bit outside of that reality, then you're sick. You have the devil in you, or you're not right. You have to seek help. And it's very sad. Think of an innocent child experiencing the world with real abilities, and they're taken away because the world does not understand or does not want to understand what this person is experiencing.
So what happens when you die? The sick, like in pain, and you die. What happens at the moment of death?
Well, you see, this is a really loaded question because it really has to do with your belief system.
Right.
Because it has nothing to do with religion.
Yeah, it's not. It could be religious if that's their belief system. And so basically, when you die, think of it as you're moving out of the physical world into another world of existence, which is, I'll call it the astral world, right?
It's instantly.
Pardon me?
It's instantly.
Yeah. So, but when you go into this transitional place, you have to go in there comfortably. So most people will say that when they die, their relatives and their closest people in the world to them will come and greet them once they die and then take them to the light. And this is a story that you hear all over the world of people dying. Their family comes and gets them. Now, if you are, if you have a lot of faith and belief in your religion, and you believe you're going to go to heaven, and a deity is going to come and take you there, it's almost like that reality will manifest itself to allow that process to happen comfortably.
What about if people believe they're going to go to hell? Are they going to go to physical hell and burn and suffer?
We carry wounds with us. We carry karma and traumas, mentally, emotionally, physically. We carry a lot of baggage. And people, they fear what they carry. And they fear that when they die, they're going to be judged for what they carry. And there will be a judgment. They can go to hell because they believe they're a sinner. And, I would call hell a shamanic journey. And hell is, they talk about the fire and all these things, and it's almost like you're burning off the karma, you're burning off the heavy energy before you can ascend and go into the higher planes of existence, because you can't carry that baggage with you on that other side, because it's going to cause you a lot of problems.
Okay, so getting back into something of time traveling now, have you been in the past or the future? I believe I've read you've been in the future, and I don't know if you've been in the past. Would you care to tell us about this?
I've been both.
Okay, so let's start with the past. Where did you go and what happened?
In his story really begins in the past.
Okay.
And that's where I think the most interesting things have happened that connect to this world right now.
So there's I would call it a very long history of this planet that's not just of this planet. This almost goes into, I would say, like a Star Wars scenario. And I use the word Star Wars because that's the only thing I can describe it as, is that, you know, the human race was originally not from Earth. And there was a war that was millions of years ago. And it took us from another world to here. So it's almost like we're refugees on a distant planet, far from our home. And we have brothers and sisters out there that chose to live on other planets and stars systems. And the human race here was, there's times in history when they were manipulated. Other beings came and altered them. There was false gods that came and, you know, said, we're gods, you have to be our slaves or we'll kill you. So there's this huge history in our past that's been covered up. And, you know, we only look back about 6,000 years in our past, and then it's a very gray area. And we have a stone record, like an archaeological record of different humanoids that have lived far back in the past. And they found humanoid skeletons, I would say tens of millions of years old. So they found very ancient remains of human beings being alive on the planet. And it seems that in this historical record of the planet, there were many versions of a human or humanoid figure. And, you know, we're familiar in this timeline with the Neanderthals. And they say that somewhere around, you know, 40,000 years ago, they mysteriously died. And they kind of blame, well, you know, the murders, so we took over their resources and killed the Neanderthals. But what happened was, and it wasn't just the Neanderthals, there were many humanoids that were not human of our lineage living on this planet at the same time. And the Earth started to change its environment. So the climate started to change. And because of that climate change, those humanoid beings died of disease and starvation and what came with it. Some of them did survive, but they survived by, I would say, mating with human beings. So if you go back in your DNA, all of us have a lot of these ancient races in our DNA because sometime in the past, we actually mated with them, and now we're hybrids of these beings. So these beings actually live on through us. But information that I was given through the time traveling was that during this time in history, it was decided that the human being that we are would receive genetic alteration from a species of aliens that were connected to us. And they altered our DNA so that we could actually survive the climate change. And that's why we're still living and they all died out, is because we got the genetic upgrade and they didn't.
Would this be the Anunnaki that did this?
Yes, the Anunnaki were just one of them that did this. There's many others that altered the DNA.
Okay, so you went in the past and the future.
Yes.
What year did you go into?
And
Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, the visitations, which were the most traumatic ones, I never got a solid time. So there was no conversation, there was no story. So, you know, they just kind of dropped me off in a place, which I assumed to be the future. And I would just experience the environment. So they took me to about 4 different timelines, and they were all pretty horrible. One was, the planet was, it was almost like it was desolated by some type of calamity. The sky was very red, the earth was scorched, like it was burnt, and it just looked like there was nothing left. They did take me down into the ground to where someone built their own bunker, and the person that was in there was suffering greatly. So whatever was happening on the planet, this person was not protected. The next place they took me to was, it was almost like a prison camp for children. And the next place they took me to was, it was a FEMA camp that was full of people. And then they let me experience a couple things. One was, it was almost like the biggest earthquake I felt. And it was like the ground was shaking so violently, but it was almost like it was an explosion. There was an explosion, and the sound was so loud that I woke up thinking that I lost my hearing. Like, that's how loud this explosion was. And I've also seen like a big tidal wave come. And the tidal wave was, it's not a normal tidal wave. This tidal wave was bigger than most buildings. So it was quite an anomaly. But like I said, what I learned later from these beings is that these are just potential timelines. Nothing is ever written in stone, and the reason they show this to people is so that we can change our ways, change our thinking, and then change the timelines. So it's not like a doom and gloom future, because I have been taken, I would say, far into the future. I would say around the year 2700, and it was a very advanced civilization that was living at this time. Everything was high technology, and everything was run by this artificial intelligence that was not human, and it was integrated in everything. So let's, for example, if you walked into a building, you can have a direct conversation with the building in your mind. You can have almost telepathy with everybody else. It's almost like a hive mind. And all the technology devices were integrated through your mind. When I came back from that timeline, you know, I thought like, wow, this was really a cool place to be. But it took me a little while to figure out that this is probably not a future we want to create.
No.
And we definitely could steer off that course.
Well,
and that's what I believe. That's what I really believe this type of time travel is all about. Time travel into the future is almost like a warning system. So when you go into the future, it's almost saying these are all the different timelines that are possible if you continue down this path, or you continue down these thoughts or this karmic pattern. You know, this is something you can manifest in the timeline. It's not saying that it is going to manifest. It's almost saying us, and okay, evolve, and change the way you think, because I know you don't want this in the future. And that's how I see it.
How do people dress in the year 2700? Were they dressed differently?
It was just very, well, yeah, it is differently, but it was almost more like uniforms. Okay. Like a uniform, clean, yeah, like everybody's wearing the same thing type of stuff. But it, like I said, and in that timeline, I'll just kind of go back a little. When they took me there, they were explaining to me that this future happened after a race between two alien civilizations. And this war was about control over the Earth and the human population. And they showed me one of these beings, or one of these aliens, and it really looked like it was like a humanoid figure with an ant head. It almost looked like an insect head. And they were trying to show me that this being that looked like this Ant-Man, they're connected somehow to the ancient step pyramids. Like, you know, when you see the 4-level pyramids?
Yes.
For some reason, those entities are connected to that, those pyramids. And I didn't get a sense of who the second species was. And, you know, I can guess that it was either the Anunnaki or reptilians, because they're always trying to get control of this world if they don't have it already.
The reptilians. What is all this technology? Maybe Bob knows, or you know, like they say that they have time traveling machines. Is that like a time traveling machine physically that we could get into, or is that just like something else that the U.S. government allegedly
Well,
has?
I think that's Well, I think that's another possible question that, you know, some people know the answer to that and are coming out more and more to tell the people what's really going on. And one of the people that I point to all the time is Laura Eisenhower, who is the great-granddaughter of Dwight Eisenhower. And she has come out quite vocally over the last couple of years, and she makes two very interesting comments, general comments. One is that an alien invasion has already taken place on this planet. We just don't know it yet. And she bases that on the control system that has been underway for, you know, decades at least in our modern day, between a shadow government and an alien force controlling it. And the other thing that she is quite vocal about is that she, you know, insists and claims that she was approached by this shadow government to be part of an interstellar space program where she would live on a colony on Mars, and she would actually get to Mars through a jump room in California. And these jump rooms are supposed to take place both in California, in Russia, and in Great Britain. Now, I don't know if, in fact, this is actually true or not. I can only say that somebody with the stature of Laura Eisenhower, you would think, would not come out to say these things if she wasn't absolutely 100% certain. Otherwise, you know, people would say that she's a complete crackpot. So I can only say that I think Laura, being who she is, has been able to come out and say these things, and people haven't been able to stop her from saying it.
Wow, this is incredible. But the thing is, with all these aliens and flying saucers, where do they come from? Other planets, other dimensions, other timelines?
I think a little bit of both, I think.
Yeah, and you know, I was actually talking to someone who I feel is actually credible. You know, I won't give their name on air, but you know, they were saying that they actually do have a physical time traveling device, and so that's one way of traveling physically. The other way is that because they've taken down these UFOs from alien races, these spacecraft are actually time-traveling or dimensional devices, so that using these UFOs, they can actually travel into the different timelines or other dimensions.
So what are your views on
and there's so many people. that have come out recently to talk about the secrets.
Yeah.
And it's not just one person. There's quite a few, and some of them are government whistleblowers, and some of them are people that worked in the inside. So for some reason, either they're being allowed to talk about it now, or they just don't care anymore. Because they say if they go missing, then it's going to look suspicious. So, but I think there's something definitely has been going on for quite a while.
What are your views on some people might be thinking that aliens could be demons? Is this possible?
You said demons? Is that what you said?
Yes.
I don't think that is what they are. I think anybody who thinks they're demons are probably just falling into the trap of where fear feeds the paranoia, that they want people to think that so that aliens don't exist. I just think that these are actual physical, biological entities, but whether they're in other dimensions or not. But I know Jason will have a take on what demons are.
Well, I think that demons are just an ancient name for what these beings are.
Are any of these beings evil?
Yes.
So maybe that's why they were called demons. I don't know.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of beings out there that really don't like us. There's a lot of beings that manipulate us, and they can manipulate our minds. They could put fear in us. So there are definitely beings out there that I would say in ancient times people would call demons, and by their definition, absolutely they're demons. But in our modern age, we'll call them as entities, either lower and there's good and bad. So, like when I go on the other side, if like I still get attacked sometimes to go over there, but there's great beings over there that help you as well. So you have like both sides. You have a polarity, and some people go over there and they get attacked by these beings, and they just have so much fear in them that they never want to, put their foot in that ocean again. But there are, I would say, I've encountered more good than bad out there.
Bob, have you ever been attacked because of your research and your books, or threatened?
No, and it's interesting because, like Jason, this was not a field that I really thought I would, delve into as much as I have delved into it. People seem to have sought me out rather than I seeking them out to tell their stories. I have not experienced anything like Jason has, and I have never been threatened by anybody in any form. So whether nobody sees me as a threat at this point, I don't know. But I'm just trying to, tell what I think is going on and what the truth is, and the possibilities that that the world we live in isn't really the world we think it is. And the more I delve into it, the more I'm absolutely certain that's the case.
And, I was actually, and Bob will even tell you this, I was very afraid to write this book. And there was moments where I called Bob and say, like, do you really think we should be saying this? Or do you really think we should include this? Because I really was afraid of what people would say once they read this book, because there's a lot of weird things in there, things that aren't supposed to be in that book or in that book. And the thing that shocked me was that I started getting emails from people all over the world that have got this book, and they're saying, I've experienced the same thing as you. I've seen the same things as you. I've been taken by the same beings as you. I've been told the same things as you. So it's like all these people are thanking me for writing this book because they've almost been hiding the information or too embarrassed to share it publicly because of fear of what would happen if they spoke about these subjects. So it's almost like, you know, it was hard for me to come forward with this, you know, where this is not a money-making thing at all. This is just, I feel like these stories and this information needs to be documented because I feel that what I've gone through is a human experience. And if we ignore human experiences, then we're ignoring a part of ourself. And there's a part of our collective consciousness that's like screaming at us, saying, don't you remember who you are? Like, don't you remember this whole side of you that you've totally shut out? And it's screaming at us to awaken and to remember who we are. And I think that's why our book is, it's literally just taken a life of its own, and it's taken off. It's been top 10 since we put it up.
It's hit a nerve, and people have been coming up to Jason at shows and on the emails and on Twitter and just saying that they've experienced a lot of the things he's experienced, and that is a validation of some of the things that he's gone through. Jason doesn't like to talk about this much, but I think your listeners would be very interested in something that nearly killed him, and that's why he didn't really want to write this book. If Jason could just touch on that a bit.
Yeah, go ahead, Jason.
Sure. So last year in May, I gave a talk at a conference, and the subject was a very new subject for me. It was about what happens to you when you go against the paradigm or the power system that's in place. And I used two people as a reference. I used Nikola Tesla, who tried to give the world free electricity, free healthcare, non-chemical agriculture, anti-gravity, and he wanted to end all wars. So this one man wanted to literally change the world, and he had the brains and the technology to do it. And basically, he was taken out of the history books, and his technology was suppressed or taken under military control. And he lived a very solitary life alone, never really talking to anybody about these things. And then the other person was the Pharaoh Akhenaten from Egypt. And he tried to change the religions from many gods to one god. And he tried to take the power away from the priesthood and put it back into the hands of the people. And this is when the story started to get a little strange for me, is that if you notice depictions of Akhenaten and his family, you see that they have elongated skulls. And these elongated skulls have been found all over the world at pyramid sites. And I found out that, you know, we're really not supposed to talk about these skulls. There's always a danger about talking about these skulls because it's not a human skull. It's actually a species that are from our prehistory. And when I started to talk about this subject, I started to get these hives on my arm. I started to get energetically attacked, but it was manifesting physically in my body. And I started to get these hives, which were like little mosquito bites that just stung and burned intensely. And over the next month, this, whatever this was, started to spread through my whole body until it covered my entire body.
Oh my
I
God.
couldn't eat. I was in bed, and my face was all blown up. Like, I looked like I got beat up by a boxer, I had cauliflower ears. My eyes were like sealed shut. I lost basically my vision. And I couldn't eat, and I had no life in me. I couldn't get up and do anything.
And what did the doctors say? What was it?
The doctors, this is the funny part, is that I went to see so many doctors, and they took every test, every blood, every swab, and everything came back perfect. There was not a thing wrong with me medically. There's not a thing wrong with me medically. And the doctor even said to me, this is a mystery to me. I don't know what this is. I have no medical explanation for what I'm going through. And I had to face the facts that I was being energetically attacked. And then I started to call all my psychic friends and healers and shamans. And this is when these past life memories came back to me. And I realized that I was going through something called a reliving. And for your viewers that don't know what a reliving is bringing back another timeline into your current timeline. So this timeline that I was manifesting physically was the death of Akhenaten, the pharaoh. So because I was talking about him, and because I was going through his life, something hit a resonance, and I brought his timeline physically into my life. And it was almost like a hit was placed on his life, and a hit was placed on my life. And I called a good friend of mine, Peter Bernard, who's an Algonquin shaman, and he did a healing on me, and literally the next day after this healing, I started to get better instantly. And Peter basically said to me, it's a good thing I called him when I did, because he didn't think I could survive this. He said that there was a professional hit placed on my life, and that it was a very ancient source of sorcery that dates back to this timeline in Egypt. So what I found out is it's fine to be the second person to come out with information. Sometimes it's not really for your benefit to be the first person to say things publicly.
Right.
So but you know what? I was laying in bed for about a month, and I was really thinking, if I were to die from this, nobody would know my story. No one would know what I know. No one would know what I've been through my whole life. And it finally dawned on me, okay, I'm going to start remembering all these details of my life, and I'm going to start writing them down. And it was a month after I made that decision that I was called to the UFO conference, the Alien Cosmic Expo. And, suddenly, Bob Mitchell, the famous 35-year crime writer for the Toronto Star, says, Jay, I want to write a book on you. And I said, well, I got quite the story to tell you.
And he certainly did.
So it was almost like the universe. It's like the synchronicity of it was so perfect that my whole life I hid from this. I didn't want anybody to know. And then when I made that decision in my mind, yes, I'm going to tell my story, Bob Mitchell was right there.
And if I can just add something to that, is that you got to remember that I had no idea what the story was that Jason was going to tell me. I had no idea what direction it was going to go into, and when we did these interviews, we only scratched the surface because there's so many other things we can talk about, and there's never enough time. The interesting thing is that every time we do a show, we seem to always talk about different things, and this show is no different. There's some similarities to all the shows, but we always end up giving each new radio station, new talk show host, something that we haven't given anybody else, and it just sort of flows. It's not planned or anything. And when Jason came to me, it was almost like it was preordained. in some way, because we had this connection, and this was the time to bring it out, because the experiences that I've interviewed, it was the time for them too. They told me stories they had never told anybody else in their lives before, and for some reason they trusted me to tell their story. I don't know why, but that's the path I'm on right now.
Wow, that's amazing. Because in the conclusion of this show, you guys will definitely have to come back on. And I just want to apologize for all this stuff that we couldn't get into because of time constraints. But we'll definitely have to have you guys back on. So Bob, Jason, any final closing thoughts?
Well, I'd just like to say that our book can be purchased on Amazon.com and Amazon.ca. Unfortunately, if you buy it through the Canadian site, you still have to pay the inflated Canadian prices rather than the cheaper American price, but we have no control over that. And if you're in the Brantford area between June 22nd and 24th, please come out to the Alien Cosmic Expo, because Jason and I will be actually closing the show on that Sunday afternoon. And, we're going to be doing various shows around town and things like that. And so my website, where you can actually find all the stuff that I do, is at bobmitchellauthor.simplesite.com and bobmitchellwriter.wordpress.com. And my email is bobmitchellwriter@gmail.com. And Jason has his own website.
Yeah, my website is thecrystalsun.com. That's thecrystalsun.com. And that's the way you can get in touch with me and check out some other things that are on the site.
Yeah, I mean, we could do an entire show on the power of crystals that Jason has introduced me to, and there's a whole world out there I never even knew existed.
Yeah, those things are very interesting, crystals. I've dealt in crystals before. Do you guys ever come in Montreal?
Well, we haven't been coming there yet, but I'm sure down the road we will.
Well, you definitely contact us, because that's where we're located, in Montreal, and we wish there would be a UFO expo over here. We'd love to have that,
Yeah. Do you know Luigi Vendidetti?
No, who is he?
Oh, Luigi, he's a very good UFO investigator from Montreal. Good friends with us. So,
I should get in contact with him. I'd love to talk to him. Yeah, you should give me his email address or something in the future if he wants. And
I'll send all the stuff to you, because there's quite a vibrant group in Quebec and MUFON. Just quite a few people that I deal with all the time. So.
Okay, because I've dealt with MUFON. I've dealt with MUFON last year, and it wasn't that pretty. It wasn't that great to begin with. The ending of it. But I don't want to start saying that online on the show. But
okay.
We could talk in private about this. So anyhow, guys, I want to thank you guys for coming on, Bob and Jason. It's been wonderful. We're going to definitely have to have you guys back on. I want to thank you guys for coming on the show. It's been great, and this will be up on YouTube in a couple of hours. So I'll be sure to be promoting it, and I'll send you the links.
Absolutely. Thanks very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks again for having us.
You're welcome, guys.
Okay.
Have a good night. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah. Wow. I'm just mind blown by all this information.
Definitely. Same here. I'm glad it happened. I'm glad we had them on, and I'm gonna definitely have to re-listen to the show because of all the upsets that came on, these little glitches, and how it is with
but we know
Skype.
We know what the glitches were caused by this time. We definitely do know, but we're not going to start getting into that now. This information it still has to be processing, and you guys definitely should get the book, because Forbidden Knowledge is a great, wonderful book. And as I'm saying, I'm just currently reading it. I'm just getting started, so it's a wonderful book, and definitely recommended. So we want to thank you guys for coming on the MnRTV Live Show. share the show once it's done. It'll be done in a couple of hours, I would assume, because we've got some editing to do. But that's it. So any final thoughts, Mario, before we end the show tonight?
No, that's it. Thank you for coming and listening and watching and participating. And we'll be back next week. Thank you. You people are the greatest. Don't ever change. Have a good night. Thank you. Bye.
God bless you all. Thank you. Bye-bye.